That's right, Marvin. It's about 19 degrees out here in Berea, and there's still quite a bit of snow on the ground. It's falling as we speak. This long line of humongous icicles is one example of what public safety officials are warning us about. They're super sharp as they come to a point and solid as a rock. These could do some serious damage if they were to break off at the wrong time. I tell you what, the rain is just not giving me or Nicholasville a break at this moment here. I'm actually just off of Lexington Road, right behind the boot store here in this parking lot where there are tons of buildings behind here that were just absolutely torn through today. There's debris piled on top of each other. You can actually see this car here behind me where there's some debris, on top of it. Crews are actively working on this scene to clean up some of this damage. I'm currently here at the movie theater where over 100 people are watching Ordinary Angels. It's the emotional true story of a Louisville community uniting during the 1994 snowstorm. The city handed out 100 free glasses for the event. I even managed to snag one before I left, but they were gone in a flash with nearly 200 people showing up at Legacy Grove Park in Winchester to witness the eclipse. Like many that came before and after him, Coach A.W. Hamilton here at EKU says he was so proud to have grown under the leadership of Coach Hicks, a relationship he will always treasure. Chief Deputy Bryant says this is a small town of just 13,000 people. Everybody knows everybody. I talked to a former schoolmate of the couple today who says he was around them just a few days ago. This fence here on Newtown Pike is covered with hundreds of locks full of stories of loss and triumph. To survivors like Gail Smith, it's a celebration of her sobriety. Emergency management officials say anywhere there's a pipe with water flowing through it, it can freeze. To avoid this, you can keep your faucets dripping and open your cabinet doors to help warm air circulate. Well, a new middle school being built on Polo Club Boulevard is being named after Dr. Mary Ellen Britton. Dr. Britton is known as the first African-American female physician in Lexington. I had the honor of diving into her life and legacy and how she made an everlasting impact on women in the medical field. Dr. Tanya Pleasant, who works at the University of Kentucky Hospital, says she found her purpose in life as a pediatrician. Serving and caring for others is her passion.
It's not what the world can do for you, it's what you can do for the world, and that's how I live my life. It's just, what can I do to make this world a better place?
She tells me her desire to pursue the medical field began as a child.
I used to visit the sick patients at the hospital with my father, who was a minister. And I was always just driven to take care of people and serve others.
Dr. Pleasant says African-American women like herself wouldn't be where they are today without trailblazers like Dr. Mary Ellen Britton. Dr. Britton, a Lexington native born in 1855, made history as the first black female physician in the city.
She wasn't afraid to be the only woman there, and she worked hard to be the only woman there.
Brenna Pye, a local historian, says Dr. Britton practiced hydrotherapy and electrotherapy out of her own home. It still stands today on North Limestone Street. Pye says Dr. Britton wore many hats. She was also a journalist, teacher, suffragist, and civil rights activist.
She had ethics and morals, and she also did all she could, when she came back to Lexington to be a doctor, to practice here. She did all she could for what at the time was called racial uplift.
She notes Dr. Britton was a strong and independent woman, never shying away from a challenge.
Imagine you are a person, a woman, in the Jim Crow South, really going for what you want.
Dr. Britton's determination opened doors for future generations, like Tylandria Daniels, a first-generation college graduate and medical student at UK.
To know that I have an example of a strong Black woman who has made it and has been in the position that I aspire to be in, that I'm currently, working to be in. Because for me, I never had an example.
Daniels tells me she grew up in an underserved community, never knowing consistent medical care. This helped fuel her desire even more to fulfill her dreams of becoming a doctor.
I understand what it means to be a very strong, confident woman. And sometimes, people want to tear you down. That's fine. But, for me, having faith in God and really just being grounded has kept me going.
Daniels and Dr. Pleasant say it's an honor to continue what Dr. Britton started.
I just want to continue her legacy, not just hers, but all women in medicine and all minorities in medicine and physicians alike.
Know who you are, continue to advocate for yourself, seek out opportunities to be comfortable and to grow. And then if it doesn't seem like the opportunity is there, understand that you can create it for yourself.
Pi says there's so much more to Dr. Britton's story that's yet to be discovered, but the legacy she leaves behind as an activist and a pioneer in the medical field will live on forever in current and future generations. 5-year-old Finn Johnson started the fight of his life shortly after birth, faced with the task of not only beating a high-risk cancer, but keeping it from returning. At just 3 months old, Finn Johnson's mom, Samantha, noticed something wasn't right with her son.
When I was giving him a bath, I felt a mass in his stomach.
After a grueling night of tests, doctors found multiple tumors throughout Finn's body. It was stage 4 neuroblastoma, a high-risk cancer mainly found in children.
He had to be on forced air in order to breathe. He stopped eating all completely.
Finn started chemo 3 days after his devastating diagnosis. Johnson says it took more than a year for the family to adjust to its new normal.
Worry about what's going to happen today and what you can do today to make yourself or your husband or your daughter or Finn feel better, and then move on to the next day and try the same thing again.
After Finn completed treatment, his scans came back clear, a miracle in itself. But he still faced a 50% chance of relapsing. That's when Johnson turned to her sister for help. Kristen Gullo works for U.S. World Meds, a pharmaceutical company in Louisville.
Only a handful of products have been approved specifically for pediatric cancer in the last 2 decades.
Gullo, alongside other researchers, came across a trial drug called DFMO that kept Finn in remission. From there, they partnered with a group called Beat Childhood Cancer in an effort to get DFMO FDA approved.
So we would meet as a team, and anytime Finn had a major treatment milestone, I would share, and we would worry about him together, but we would celebrate his victories together.
After years of hard work, the drug was finally approved in December. It's now called I-Will-Fin, named after Finn and another survivor named Will.
And of course, we also love it because it sounds uplifting. I will Finn. It almost sounds like I will win, which is exactly what we want for all kids.
Finn will be 4 years cancer-free in May with no sign of relapsing, an outcome few doctors would have predicted. Johnson says her sweet, happy little boy is a walking miracle.
We're just here for it. We're here to let him live life to the fullest, whatever that may look like for him in the future. We just try to make his life as great as it can be.
Both Johnson and her sister say I-Will-Fin is giving people across the nation hope. They're confident that teams are working really hard to get rid of all cancers. The day will come that they'll beat them all. Live in studio, Allie Root, Fox 56 News. New tonight, we've learned the identity of the person who was killed after the floor of an old tobacco warehouse collapsed in Montgomery County. The city of Winchester is mourning the loss of community hero Sergeant William Marty Jackson. He served the people there for 5 decades. Today, family and friends said goodbye to him. A small Kentucky campus is rattled tonight after a terrifying day at Campbellsville University. A student was found dead this morning in his dorm room, and from there, a day's search for the killer led to a campus-wide lockdown. We begin tonight in Lexington, where police are investigating an overnight shooting that left 1 woman in the hospital. Vasi, what an inspirational story and such an amazing act of service that this couple is doing. Dozens of teachers throughout Kentucky are walking away with a new honor today after a ceremony that was held at Croker Field this morning. The Defender Kentucky 3-day event is one of the world's premier equestrian events, showcasing the world's highest level of equestrian eventing. Hannah Jackson had an inside look as the event wrapped up its final day at the Kentucky Horse Park. Okay, Peyton, so I have a Christmas wish just about every year. I'm always wishing and hoping for a white Christmas, but I just don't think that's going to happen this year, is it?
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Well, it is March, and that means basketball madness here in Kentucky. Even though the Cat season is over, there was plenty of high school hoops down at Rupp Arena as KHSAA crowned its new boys state champs. Black Smoke in Gaza, Roosters on the Notre Dame Cathedral, and superheroes at a children's hospital. These stories and more as we go around the world in 56. Israel is continuing its fight against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Israeli defense forces continued bombing Hamas positions inside the tiny Palestinian enclave Saturday. Children with autism have a new home in Lexington. Today, a brand new center aimed at helping kids through applied behavior analysis therapy opened its doors. The UK Police Department is in the process of assessing the information received, but says it cannot comment on ongoing investigations. Live in studio, Allie, Fox 56 News.